guys can kind of hear, but the wind is very atrocious, so I'm going to be putting this video together. I did not take the Ryker up to Minnesota like I was going to for this concert. I'm going to be making a video on all the reasons of what factored into me not wanting to take that over the car, and then also a prelude as to what's wrong with the car and why I didn't want to take the car. So stay tuned for that. I'll be mashing this video into that video to connect it all. But I just wanted to get some documentation on the wind so you can see kind of why that was a factor. The weather app said that the west wind, so I'm going south to north, but the wind from the west, it was saying, was 10 to 20 miles an hour, which most times you think wouldn't be too bad. It's not that fast, but when you're on a highway going 70, 80 miles an hour, that 10 to 20 mile an hour wind at different gust intervals can be pretty hard impacting on you. So yeah, so that's pretty much the main reason why I didn't want to take it. I could see the wind was pretty bad, and I knew on the highway it would be, 80 times worse. So wanted to kind of get this documentation for that. So talk to you guys later. Alright, so follow up to that video. So yeah, there's a lot of key parts that kind of went into my thought of not taking the Ryker and taking my vehicle versus the Ryker. And a lot of that stuff happened at the beginning of that day. So I woke up 2 hours before I started off on my trip. And in those 2 hours, I was constantly weighing the pros and cons of taking the bike versus taking my vehicle. Main thing that came down to factoring the vehicle over the Ryker was just safety. And I'm not saying that the Ryker isn't safe or that I don't feel like I can drive it safely or anything like that. It was just, I was wanting to go on this trip. I've been anxious for this trip for the past couple months, or 3 months, and basically in my mind it was clear before I had gotten the Ryker, and in my mind I really ultimately wanted to go up to it on like a bigger Can-Am, such as the Limited or the Touring, or something like that. That's how I saw it in my mindset. So over the past month or so, I've had the Ryker. I've been kind of contemplating, well, do I really want to go up there on a littler thing that can kind of be shook by the wind a little more and that sort of stuff? And ultimately, in the last 2 hours, that's what it was. It was safety. Like I said in the video there, the app, my weather app, had it reporting a wind gust from the west of 10 to 20 miles an hour. I thought, wow, most of the time on the way up there, I'm going to be on an express highway or interstate possibly. Do I really want that wind just battling me for 80 miles at a time? Because that's kind of what it was. A lot of the way up there, there's two main stretches on like a 4-lane highway that, I'm on that stretch just going straight one direction for 80 miles at a time in 2 different instances. So it's a lot. Even in a car, it's like, wow, man, I wish I could make a turn or something like that just to kind of slow down and get my bearings and things like that. So I was like, do I really want to do that? I was like, no, not really. Second thing is, it was really hot. I wanted a coat because I knew I'd be coming back from there. I wasn't going to stay up in Minnesota or anything like that, so I knew that. So not staying anywhere overnight, that was a huge factor. Obviously, if I went up on the Ryker, I'd want to grab a room or something like that and just wait for day to come back. I like riding at night. I like seeing everything lit up. It'd be easier to see my phone and my navigation and things like that. I wasn't worried about. Um, but at the same time, like riding at night has its challenges and things like that. And I was like, yeah, I don't really want to put up with that or anything. So, and I knew it'd be a little bit cooler. So I wanted a coat. And I'm like, okay, well, if I take a coat, like I'm not wearing it on the way up because it was 95 degrees here. It was going to be like high 80s by the time I went north 4 hours there. So I was like, I'd have to put the coat in my backpack, and then I'd have a big, hump on my back the entire way up, and the front space in the front was too full for a coat, so I didn't want to do that. So yeah, I mean that was a big part in it. I was like, I want to pack a coat, but I don't want to deal with having a coat with me everywhere I go up there. And that's just another thing too, is a backpack. I ended up taking my backpack, but I had it in like my passenger seat all the way up in my car. Um, but that was the thing, like, I didn't have to carry the backpack or anything like that. It was just another thing in my vehicle that I could just store things in and just kind of keep in my vehicle the entire time in case I needed something. I knew exactly where to go. Um, with it on my bike, I have like a bike chain. I was gonna, use that to obviously chain my helmet to my handlebars, and I was thinking I could loop it through the backpack too, and have the backpack hooked and locked onto my bike. But at the same time, like it's easier to rip a backpack off of a bike than a helmet. Um, just a quick snip of the strap and off you run with it. So I was like, I don't know. I don't really want to bring my backpack up there. It's just another thing that I have to think about and keep safe with me. So I didn't think that was necessary too. Ultimately, too, I was like, there's going to be other trips I can take. Hopefully, shorter trips for first, just to get my bearings of what it feels like. So I was like, there's going to be more times. I don't have to quite do this for this. I've been anticipating, like I said, this concert for a long time. So I just wanted the 100% surest way of going up there and feeling, safe. So that's ultimately what it comes down to. The jacket is another thing, and the backpack's the third thing. So yeah, talking about reasons why I didn't want to take the car though, and why I wanted to take the bike. Obviously, it was 95 degrees. My car doesn't have air conditioning, so that was the number one factor on taking my car over the bike. I have no air conditioning, so the windows would have to be down 24/7, and even that, it's like I'm gonna get pretty darn, sweaty, and it's not gonna be a fun time. So I didn't want to do it because of that. Um, Another thing is just my vehicle's getting kind of old, so um, oh man, what is it now? Uh, it's a 2011, so yeah, it's like 11 years old. Um, I have 100, about to hit 120,000 miles on it. Um, so it's kind of getting up there, but basically, I'm trading it. I'm going to be trading it in and getting something else in a couple of years. So I'm kind of trying to limit my use on it and everything like that. Um, it's got some. It's got a couple brake pads and rotors that need to be changed out still that are pretty bad condition. Um, so that's another thing. It breaks fine and everything like that still, but I just want to be weary of how much I'm actually applying to those parts. But yeah, it's just kind of an older vehicle, and I don't really care for it much at all. All my vehicles so far I've just kind of been stuck with. I haven't really liked one vehicle I've gotten. I've just like something always happens to my previous vehicle to where I'm like, well, crap, I got to get a new vehicle. And then I'm like panicking and like, oh, where am I going to get a new vehicle? And then I just kind of like grab whatever is convenient to me and nearby. And the only thing I was looking for really when getting this one that I have is that I needed an SUV. So I got an SUV. It's just not exactly the one I wanted or anything like that. I wasn't in a position where I could be like, let me search around and let me browse. It was like middle of dead winter. My other car wasn't producing heat, and I was like, I'm either gonna freeze to death or I get a new vehicle. So I got a new vehicle. Um, yeah. So it's you know, I, would I have preferred the bike, the Ryker? Yes, 100 times so. But was it safe for me, and was I gonna get the most enjoyment out of my trip and have the best time of my life at my concert with the bike? No. So those are my reasons for not taking it. I do wish I could have gotten more footage and been able to share, how the Riker performs on a 4-hour trip over like 200-mile, trip. But this just wasn't the time. So there will be more adventures to come, and I'm going to be getting out there and creating more content. I do promise that. Good thing is that the audio system gets fixed in about a week. So I'll be able to upload that content and share exactly, do a full 100% scale test of how the audio is, what it sounds like, get some wind thrown at it, and so that, you guys all can make a smooth decision off of getting whether or not it's worth paying the, $300, $400 for that system when ordering or customizing your new Riker out there. So that's coming up. But for the time being, that's enough said on this. Hope you enjoyed this video of the reasons of my pros and cons versus one vehicle and the other. It was a fun concert. I had a fun time going up to Minnesota. It's just a long, enduring trip, and for me at least, and I just wasn't ready to do that safely, on the Riker. I need to get some more experience with it, get some more riding time in with it, um, and get some more stuff added to it. Had I had like the floorboards and I think floorboards mainly. Oh, and some actual storage containers, like the back, big back storage bin you can put on instead of the passenger seat that's attached right now. Getting some saddlebag stuff on there, to kind of put things so I didn't have to bring the backpack and things like that. And those things are actually lockable, so that would be nice. Had I had, some of those accessories, I think maybe would have persuaded me, but at the same time, again, the wind I think was just too head battling, and I would have been constantly keeping my muscles flexed to keep the handlebar straight and things like that. So at least a lot more than I did with a car. So yeah, thank you for watching. Always, as always, comment, subscribe, like the video. Um, and thanks for watching. Thank you to everybody out there that's subscribed so far. Trying to grow this channel as best I can. And with that, I do realize I need to produce more content. So, content is coming. Um, Leave comments and just let me know how I'm doing. But I appreciate all of you. And thank you for watching. Peace.